We've got a new insider report from Rich Cimini of ESPN on all things New York draft, free agency draft, and so much more. A lot of juicy nuggets. Let's get into it.
I'm going to lose my gas card bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Let's go!
Put your seatbelts on. Get ready for the ride. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this shit.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. We're here on April 6th, baby, here on a Sunday. We're just 18 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. It's going to be a real hoot. I can't wait for it. It's going to be spectacular. We'll have a full live stream on this program for the entirety of the first round. And people, let's celebrate some of this action. Mother effing chew right off the top rope with a gifted membership, baby. Let's ride. That membership went to Anthony Laguito or Lagarato. My apologies for the likely butchering of your name. But nonetheless, you have a Boy Green Coffee Club membership, which means MFC has a raffle ticket to our contest going on for the next 9 days, baby. And you see the raffle leaderboard down below. These are the top 5 gifters so far this month. J-Boy, 41 raffle tickets. A-Step 10, 25 raffle tickets. Devin and Dick Chimney's Burner with 10 raffle tickets. For Lillian Big D with 8 and Ed Vargas with 5. That is your top 5 leaderboard of most gifted raffle tickets so far this month. And here it is. Here's what you guys are competing for. It is this here on the big board. Booyah! The official 2025 New York Jets draft hat, the official 2025 New York Jets draft shirt, and the movie Draft Day, baby, which I watch every Thursday night of the first round every year. Before we get to the first round, somewhere in the morning or early afternoon, I watch the movie Draft Day. It's a absolute tradition, baby, and it's spectacular. So you guys can continue that tradition as well. Again, on April 15th will be the final day you guys can submit raffle tickets. You guys can submit raffle tickets by either joining the Boy Green Coffee Club down in the YouTube description down below. Just join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. It's only $2.99. If you click that button and join the Boy Green Coffee Club, punch your own ticket in, you'll get one raffle ticket. And you will have all the perks of being a Boy Green Coffee Club member, access to our Discord channel, and so much more. Emoji access, early membership videos, and all kinds of cool perks. Plus, you have a chance to win this. You guys can also gift channel memberships. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the money sign. Final option is gift channel memberships. You can gift as many as you'd like. There are no limits to those raffle tickets you guys can collect. You guys can always super chat your stuff in. Again, $2.99 per raffle ticket. Also, we accept PayPal and Venmo at BoyGreen25, BOY, Green the color 25 on both of those apps. Just make sure in the message you say, hey, this is Johnny Boy. Hey, this is whoever. And I want to submit raffle tickets for the contest, so feel free to maximize that. Shout out to MFC, baby. We've got a big, juicy insider report to get to, and there's a lot of stuff in here. A lot of stuff. First off, salute to all the Boy Green Coffee Club members in the chat. I see you, Alan. And yes, Duke going down in a pile of crap is always a good day. Good day? Appreciate that. Suck it, Duke. My bracket is long busted, so, I guess I can't really talk. June the GM, Phil, Reese, R&R. Who else do we have in here? Terrence Hill, good morning to you, my friend. Yeah, Reese, Phil, Hep's in here as well. Jared B., and everybody else. Party with Peg and Artie, all our members to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Salute. Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the show. That means a lot. Thank you kindly. Let's get into it. And Jimmy Jets. Hey, now. I see you there, too, as well. Thank you, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Let's go. My father asked, did I even do a bracket? Says the guy who picked Duke who just lost last night. So suck it, pal. By the way, I had my radio partner, Manshop, talking a lot of crap about you over text this morning. He's like, where's your father at now? And now it will be Manchild will either win our bracket, or we have a caller that calls into the show named Big Al who picked Florida. So it'll be Florida or Houston. It'll be Manchild winning his own bracket challenge with over 100 people in it, or it will be Big Al, one or the other. So appreciate everybody there. All right, let's get into it here. We'll go through each nugget. Shout out to Rich Cimini. His full article is in the YouTube description down below. Rich Cimini. And here it is. Rich Cimini says that Aaron Glenn has fueled trade speculation with Breece Hall based on his comments at the annual league meetings. And this was it. I'm writing a piece about this. This will be on Heavy on Jets after the show, but Aaron Glenn has asked a question about Breece Hall. He is asked, where is he mentally? Because he went through some issues last season. And how does he fit into this offense? And then here's what Aaron Glenn had to say about that. I think mentally he's in a good place. But I would say we have 3 running backs on this team that we're going to utilize as much as possible. They're all big men. They can run. They're violent. They're physical. I think once we get a chance to get the players in and see exactly how they operate, I think every player is going to be happy with the way we go about this offense, and I think he is going to be one of them. First off, if someone asked my dad, hey, how's your son Paul doing? He's like, yeah, Paul's fine. Now, I got a lot of children. And he immediately starts going to the others. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Hey, they asked about me, man. Why are you going to all these other people? They asked about Breece, and he immediately said, yeah, we got that Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis guy. Now, what does AG mean by ignoring basically the Breece Hall part of the question and just going to the team? And Rich Cimini believes that will fuel some trade speculation. This will fuel some raffle tickets, baby. Jimmy Jets with a 10-pack of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Let's bleep and go. Hit them with one of these, perhaps. Just like that, Jimmy Jets is on the board for the month of April, baby. Let's put him right on the leaderboard with 10 juicy raffle tickets. He is now tied with Dick Chimney's Burner and Devin, a.k.a. DNY for life, on our leaderboard here. So let's add him to the pile. They're in 3rd place so far this month. So thank you, Jimmy Jets, baby. You are in the running for our contest. Appreciate that. Here are the 10 new members to the Boy Green Gosh Darn Coffee Club. We got Seabull. We have Rob Albano. We have Monica Alarcon, Jam, JJ, Doan Syndrome, Shad Johnson, Florida Man of Culture, Cantu Rinji, Sonny Miller. You guys are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, and that link there on Discord is how you guys, of course, can join the app where we talk all things New York Jets well beyond the program. So there you go, baby. Thank you, Jimmy. Appreciate it. So yeah, Rich Cimini believes that trade speculation has been fueled on those Breece Hall comments. Now, there's a couple of layers here. So what does this mean? Does it just mean Glenn really likes Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis? Perhaps they showed pops in limited action last year. Okay. Obviously, Aaron Glenn comes from the Detroit Lions where they had David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs had 250 carries last year. David Montgomery, 185. Montgomery also got injured, so factor that into the carries conversation at the end of the season, obviously. And here's another factor that Rich Cimini brought up of why Glenn may be moving away from a Breece Hall bell cow situation to split it up. If you look at some of the analytics, when you look at yards per carry average for Breece Hall, he's been in the league for 3 years. It started at 5.8, 4.5, 4.2. Rush yards over expected per attempt, 1.4, 0.7, 0.4 per next-gen stats. Shout out to Rich Cimini there. So one of two things could be possible there. Glenn could be sending a message, Rich Cimini says, to Breece Hall saying, hey, man, you haven't lived up to your potential, pal, and nothing's going to be handed to you. You have to earn it. If you're going to be the bell cow on this team, you earn that action. That's possible. And the other possibility, Rich Cimini says, is maybe he just believes Breece Hall can be more efficient with fewer touches, and Maybe there's something to that. Now, I don't know if Breece Hall's going to be happy about that, but from a Jets perspective, if you, instead of quantity and go with quality, there could be something there. But speaking of quantity, again, we talked about it last year, Breece Hall didn't have a single game with 20-plus carries in it. So I'm curious what this means. Again, Rich Samini says, Glenn's comments surely will fuel trade speculation because Hall is heading into the last year of his $9 million rookie contract. This is the final season. 2025. Breece Hall is scheduled to be a free agent in 2026. So what does it all mean? Here's some more from Rich Samini. Hall is a gifted player who would attract interest if dangled in trade talks. Perhaps the Jets would consider moving him if Boise State star Ashton Jeanty is available at the 7th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. And what did we talk about, people? What did we talk about? A month ago, 2 months ago, I said, hey, Ashton Jeanty, and you guys called me an idiot. Now, I normally merit conversation where you guys call me an idiot, but in this particular case, it sounds like perhaps the Jets could do something crazy. Hey, Trevor Sikkema, we did that interview, right? At the end of the interview, I said, hey, Trevor, let's get freaky. What if the Jets just recklessly say, F this, Ashton Jeanty time, baby, 7th overall? He's like, boy, would that be reckless based on all these other needs that the Jets have. You're right, NY Jets FL. Rich is a little late on this take because we were on this a couple months ago. And now hearing Rich Samini say it, maybe it adds a little potential to this. Again, I like Breece Hall. And, man, that rookie season where he's hitting all these home run balls and then he blows out his ACL week 7 against the Denver Broncos, I'm like, oh, boy. Okay, here we go. And then it's, he gets hurt and, he hasn't been that bell cow since. It's just been the harsh truth of it. Mitch Staff says, I doubt Hall brings even a 4th rounder. Totally disagree. Breece Hall, let's see. What is Breece Hall's age? He's like 23. I don't think he's 24 yet. He's 23. He turns 24 next month. He's 23 years of age. Home run ability. He 100% would bring more than a 4th. Now, how much more? Well, I guess we'll talk about it. Could he be packaged for something? But I'm telling you, man, if Breece Hall is because if Breece Hall's touches are reduced in a contract year, I imagine he's not going to be very enthralled by that. And thus, if you have Mike Tomlin says that you want volunteers, not hostages. And if you have an upset camper of Breece Hall going, where the bleep are my touches? That could lead to some issues. So thus, you could be ahead of it. And then he just goes, all right, draft day, I package this and this. For instance, here's a possibility, right? Let's say you're the Jets and you do something to the effect of you take whoever you want at 7. Let's say it's Ashton Jeanty, just for shits and giggles for this conversation. And then you package 42 in Breece Hall and you jump back well into the first round. Is that something they do? Or do they just try to get some particular asset for Breece and use that in a separate deal? I don't know. I think it would be more than a 4th, though. I'd be more than a 4th. Allen has said forever that, hey, man, if someone offers a 2, let's dance, because that's the pick you invested in him in the first place. But, and plus whoever trades for him could still play the franchise tag game. So I don't know. I think we're talking, 2nd, 3rd category, but he's in the last year's deal. So again, there's going to be some debate, some hoopla back and forth to figure it out. But I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think someone may try to trade for some of that action. Alan says, I think Denver would offer pick 85. I think 100% they would offer pick 85. Yeah. Kyle Clifton here. Going back to 15 might, which is where the Falcons pick. If Jets could get the right deal for Breece and trade back in the first, they would opportunistically take a back and start to reset the winning timeline. That's correct because, right, imagine, you're able to get Jeanty. Now, I think if you traded back, I don't think you could be able to get Jeanty, unfortunately, because there's going to be just too many teams. Vegas could take him. Chicago could take him. Dallas obviously could take him. There's just so many teams. I don't know if you could trade back to do that, but right, obviously, there are a lot of opportunities in this draft. Matthias says, no way you take a running back there with the running backs we have. And I think this is where, with all due respect, Matthias, I think this is where we overrate our own players. Braylon Allen looked okay in a couple of games. Isaiah Davis looked okay in a couple of games. If you look at the raw numbers, Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis didn't do bupkis. They did a couple of things that have sort of revved our engine, like, ooh, possible. And then Breece Hall has never had a 1,000-yard rushing season. He hasn't lived up to the hype, and it's gone down each of the last 3 years, unfortunately. Now, there's been, again, there's been much more explosive pops, obviously, with Breece than there has been for Braylon or Isaiah. But I don't think the current room should prevent them from taking a running back 7th overall. Now, there are a lot of other reasons that should prevent you from taking a running back 7th overall, not because of the guys in the room, but because you have a need at right tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, safety. All those needs are like, boy, we probably should do this. This is probably reckless. I don't think it's based on the people in the room, though. I wouldn't say that. Again, if you don't take a running back at 7, it's not because of the people in the room. It's because of you have so many other needs. That's what I would say, personally. Emmanuel Holcomb says, I could see us trading Breece, drafting Genty. Possible, sure. Again, maybe that's a possibility. Alan says, Breece in a 5th to Denver for pick 51. You get back in the 2nd round. Maybe that's possible. Who knows? Yeah. Phil says, if we could get a 3rd or 2nd in 2026 draft, as much as I like Breece, see ya. Could be. That's possible. Yeah. An early 3, people are saying. Kyle Clifton says, not in the 1st round, but you could take a rotational back at 109, for example, of this class. Sure, you could. Yeah. You could trade back and then find your running back later. That's possible. Sure. Good point, Kyle Clifton. Jimmy says, anyway, we could get a 3rd this year and a 3rd next year. That seems too rich. But maybe, hey, I would shoot for the stars and then work your way down. If someone offers a 3, you think for Breece, is he gone like the wind? It would depend where the 3 is. Is it an early 3? Is it a late 3? There's a massive gap, obviously, as we've talked about in Jets fan land, of being in the 70s or near 100. So, there's a big difference there. It would depend. I'd probably want a much higher pick than that. Amanda says, I don't have him getting past the Raiders to talk about Ashton Genty with 6 overall. Very possible that's what they do. Matthias says, I'm not saying Breece is Curtis Martin. I'm saying you don't take the running back at 7, which, by the way, is a fair take. That would be a reckless decision to take a running back at 7, but that would be fun. I'd get some good reactions. That's for sure. All right, let's keep going down Rich Cimini's insider report. So, fuel trade speculation potentially on Breece Hall. The Glenn Doctrine, a 30-minute sit-down with Glenn coupled with interviews around the league, has yielded a few thoughts. Competition is paramount on this team. Glenn emphasized that point by saying the depth chart is written in pencil. He wants to create a meritocracy. One of the criticisms of the previous regime is players got too comfortable. I'd agree. So competition is welcome. Again, there will be competition, right? Like Tyrod Taylor nipping at the heels of Justin Fields. Some of that competition will be fugazi, but I think competition is important. Yeah, let's get it. Josh Myers pushing Joe Tippmann. Again, I don't think that's really going to happen of a flip. We'll get more into Josh Myers actually in a second, but competition's good. So yeah, let's go. Youth, adding all young guys on the roster. Youth is served. Of the 14 offseason additions, wide receiver Josh Reynolds, 30, is the only one in the 30 and up category, according to Rich Cimini. So there you go. Great. I'm all fine with youth. I think sometimes a splash of veteran doesn't hurt, but I understand the Jets process. The Jets added size. Brandon Stevens, 6'1", who obviously taller than TJ Reed's 5'9". That makes sense. Moving in silence, want to be quiet, don't want to create headlines. Again, as much as that's good for my business of creating headlines, I totally understand if they go in that category. I totally understand. That could totally make sense. Certainly possible. Dan Campbell had quite the things to say about Aaron Glenn, his former coach, in a exclusive comment to ESPN, saying you need a leader, man. You need a leader, and you need a guy who can hold people accountable. I'm talking about top down. As long as he's got the support, AG will turn that thing around. There's no question. An unbelievable leader, an even better person who makes people want to rally around him and do things to find success. Look, if he can't, nobody can. That's my opinion. Yeah, well, I agree. So hopefully he's the guy. Let's go to another point here on the Rich Cimini Insider Report. Al Lazard could stay with the team, but he will have to take a significant pay cut. Now, we've heard significant pay cut, but we haven't heard, like, money-wise. What are we talking about? What does significant pay cut look like? According to Rich Cimini, they could try to cut his salary to the neighborhood of $2.75 million, which is the amount of Josh Reynolds' one-year deal. Again, Al Lazard is scheduled to make $11 million non-guaranteed. Rich Cimini's speculation is they could try to get it to 2.75. That would be a significant pay cut to about 20% of the rate. Good night. And he said those receivers have similar numbers. And what Lazard could be waiting for is if a reunion with Aaron Rodgers is possible before deciding on the Jets' proposal. Interesting. So Al Lazard time. Is he back? Is he not back? Again, if he's not back, I'm not going to cry about it. Again, all of the reasons we've talked about for months. So I won't be too upset if he's gone. But, boy, we need other names in the room, obviously. Organization obviously is going to wait for extension talks till after the draft. We talked about that. So Sauce, Garrett, and anybody else for that matter. And here's this. Again, I gave a lot of hubbub to Chukwuma Okora for yesterday of how much of a steal I think it is. The Jets think they got a steal in center Josh Myers. He signed a one-year deal for $2 million, started 56 games for the Green Bay Packers for the first 4 years of his career. He was a full-time starting center from day one for the Packers, which is crazy because he was this random draft pick. He's projected as a backup with the Jets, obviously, but he's going to push Joe Tippmann. We'll see what happens there. The Jets thought, this from Rich Cimini, the Jets thought Josh Myers would land a starting job somewhere, which, by the way, makes sense. He started for 4 straight years in Green Bay, and he fell through the cracks, which Cimini says sometimes happens in free agency. So the Jets believe they just got this steal of steals. And real quick, on Josh Myers, I absolutely agree. Now, Josh Myers isn't among the best centers in football, obviously, but he's not among the worst. He's a solid guy. He was a starting center on the last 2 Packers playoff teams over the last 2 years. Pretty good. Not bad at all. And now that guy's your depth guy? Okay. I agree with the Jets. You got a nice steal here with Josh Myers, former college teammate of one, Justin Fields. So, excellent work. Excellent work. Now, here it is. Rich Cimini said it. Here's another point. It became clear in talking to Aaron Glenn that he values quarterbacks with mobility. And he thinks when you look ahead to the draft, there's a few names that now clear the way for the New York Jets. Here are the names. Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. Tyler Shuck, the quarterback out of Louisville. And Jalen Milroe. Cimini said all good runners. Someone to look at. Jets offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand was at Tyler Shuck's pro day. Now, here's where I think these guys are going to go as we talk QB draft. I think Jackson Dart is probably going to be inside the top 25 picks, Pittsburgh or someone trading back up. I think somewhere in the first round. Let me just put it that way. So let's go through the guys. Cam Ward's going number 1. Check that off. I think Shador's probably going top 10-ish, somewhere in there. Jackson Dart, I think, goes in the first round. So that's 3. And now we get to those other 2 guys. Tyler Shuck, I think, is probably going to be the first pick in the second round. Whether it's Cleveland or someone trading up or what have you, I think Tyler Shuck goes in that range. And then Jalen Miller is the one that's up in the air. Probably a third-round draft choice is probably where he goes because of the everything that's going to be operating there. But I'm curious, did the Jets dip their toe in one of these quote-unquote mobile quarterback waters of Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milroe? We already did a show earlier this week where I said, I'm not so sure that I would be in a rush to add any of these quarterbacks because I want to give Justin Fields a fair shot. And plus, we have plenty of other needs that we could be using these picks on. But interesting that Rich Cimini notes those guys again. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss, Tyler Shuck, Louisville, Jalen Milroe, Alabama. Fascinating. By the way, folks, today is Sunday. Tomorrow, the Jets report for voluntary workouts anyway to the team. Super cool. Guys, phase 1 of the offseason begins tomorrow for the Jets. When you have a new head coach, you get a 2-week head start on everybody else. So teams with new coaches, again, get to start up their programs earlier than anyone else. So we will start getting some additional content from the New York Jets, baby, with interviews and all kinds of things. So phase 1 of the offseason begins tomorrow, April 7th on Monday. We'll, of course, have our draft guy on. I think you're going to love that show tomorrow morning as well. And then just some final nuggets here from Rich Cimini to wrap up, and then we'll open up the phone lines. Pete Carroll His first draft pick as an NFL head coach was in 1994 when he took Aaron Glenn with the 12th overall pick. Now, fast forward all those years later, and in the same coaching cycle, Pete Carroll and Aaron Glenn are both hired as head coaches. That's so friggin' wild and crazy and cool. So an awesome shout out there. Just cool. I can't. That's so that would happen is wild. Also, Woody Johnson spoke at the annual league meetings, and Rich Cimini said, like a lot of Jet fans, Woody Johnson wants to, forget about the Zach Wilson era ever happening, mentioning in that 2021 draft it was Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. So I don't know what that means outside of Joe Douglas, I guess, being the guy for the Jets. Or Joe Douglas being the advocate for Z Wilson. But again, none of that matters. But I will say this, speaking of Zach Wilson, didn't think I'd have to write a Zach Wilson article this week, but I wrote it yesterday. The Miami Dolphins said that Zach Wilson was a targeted, calculated free agent for them. He signed a one-year deal. If you guys missed this, Zach Wilson signed a one-year deal for $10 million, $6 million guaranteed. He's among the top 5 highest-paid backup quarterbacks in football. And Tua has only had one fully healthy season in his career. And I'm just telling you, long story short, we might be seeing Zach Wilson again, Jet fans. Jets, of course, play the Dolphins twice, being in the AFC East. We might be seeing Zach Wilson again. And maybe that's good news for us because we've hit the eject button on Zach Wilson last year, swapping around late-round picks with the Denver Broncos. And obviously, we all saw what the Zach Wilson show looked like. Mike McDaniel, this offensive wizard, can he get more to Zach Wilson than we ever did? Well, I guess we're going to find out because, all quarterbacks in football are, or backup quarterbacks rather, are one hit away from starting. Of course, that's an obvious statement to make. But that holds special value in Miami because in 4 of the last 5, let me do my math right, 4 of the last 5 seasons, a backup quarterback has been forced to play for the Miami Dolphins. Tua has missed 20 games over the last 5 years. And they're coming off, Tua is coming off a career-high 6 games missed due to injury last season with a concussion in a hip. Zach Wilson may be getting an op to be thrown around with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle if Tyreek Hill doesn't get traded, I guess. So it's just kind of crazy. Allen says, with Armstead retiring, who's playing left tackle? That offensive line has some big, fat issues. Not just at left tackle across the board, but yeah, so they might be having issues. Again, I'm not saying Zach Wilson's going to be the second coming here. I'm just saying I'm kind of curious to see what this thing ends up turning out to be. Of course, something we'll keep an eye out for. We got 400 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. Again, folks, you only have 9 days left in our contest, and we wanted to do an epic giveaway for the draft. And the draft is this month. And we're giving you brand new Jets draft gear. Again, the official Jets draft hat, the official Jets draft shirt, and the movie draft day. All of that is up for grabs. Again, if you want a ticket and that's what I highly recommend to everybody. You guys can buy as many raffle tickets as you want, but at least buy one, $2.99. Don't you want a chance to win all that? You can't buy a Jets draft hat for $2.99. You can't buy a Jets draft shirt for $2.99. Hell, you can't even probably buy the draft day movie for $2.99 for Pete's sake. So might as well have a ticket to the dance and try to see if you can get lucky. It happens. It's a spinning wheel of madness. Anything can happen. It can land anywhere. So I highly recommend that before April 15th. Well, technically the 16th. 16th is where business is closed. 15th is the last day to submit your raffle tickets. I highly recommend everybody jumps on the train and buys one of those lotto tickets, baby. Let's do this. We'll take a quick hep time out, and the phone lines are open next. You can react to anything from that Rich Cimini ESPN Insider report where you talk Jets draft, anything on your mind. Hep, give us the music, and we'll be right back.
Boy Green daily, bugging daily, bugging daily. Talking Jets football, man. Boy Green bugging daily, bugging daily, bugging daily. New York Jets Football Club. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch Jets football with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Let's go.
Phone lines are now open. That's youtube.com/BoyGreen25. You're watching on Facebook, Heavy on Jets. Appreciate you. That's my employer. Thank you very much. Twitter @BoyGreen25, baby. That's always a good time. And youtube.com/BoyGreen25. 5. Let's go to the phone lines, and EZ is showing us his meal. What do we got cooking, EZ? What's going on over here? Oh, yeah, we're at a nice diner. Yeah, nice.
At the Waffle House. What do you mean nice
Waffle
diner?
House.
It's a Waffle House.
Beautiful. Okay, great. Yeah. Well, what do you got on your plate there, EZ? What
I got the sausage and egg and potato breakfast bowl.
Oh, very nice. Look at that.
I like
Beautiful.
them. They're good.
Yeah, very nice. Waffle House. Nice. Good choice. I haven't been to a Waffle House in a while.
Yeah. I saw your dad made a comment. I think if it says Paul Esden, that's your dad, right?
Correct. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was saying that Sean Payton saw no value in Zach Wilson. That's why he traded him or let him go. I think
they ended up letting him go. Yeah.
I think it's mostly because Bo Nix was way better than he expected. And he didn't think he needed to have another guy snipping at Bo's heels, always put me in, coach, put me in, coach. So it was just all right, let's see who's desperate for a backup, and let's see if we can get some, or I think they just released him.
He left no, he just left as a free agent. They declined the 5th-year option last offseason, so he just left as a free agent. And Zach got good money. Again, $10 million. Phenomenal. And I'm sure he looked at Tua and says, this guy hasn't stayed healthy in 4 or 5 years. My ass is going to get on the field. Great. So I don't blame Zach at all.
It'd be funny if he played us. That'd be funny.
I think it's going to happen. I think the football gods have a cruel sense of humor, and it just feels inevitable.
Imagine if we played him and JJ sacks him and rips his leg off or something.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that would be graphic, but
I'm kidding.
yes,
I'm
that
just
could
being,
happen. No,
I'm being facetious. I'm giving Alan something to hate me over.
Okay, there you go. He appreciates that. I can already see that in the chat.
Anyway, I'm going to have my breakfast. You have a good day, man.
Okay, appreciate it, EC. Thank you so much. Wonderful Waffle House. Me personally, Waffle House, great. I haven't been to Waffle House in a long time. I go to a local diner here in Oswego every Sunday morning. It's a tradition with me and my family. We've gone for years. I get the same dish. It's basically a breakfast burger. It's a burger, medium, bacon, egg over easy. On the side, I have extra crispy fried potatoes and a good crunch, good texture is más importante. And then I once you kind of pop the egg, the yolk beautifully runs on the plate. You can dip your crispy potatoes in there, and you don't leave them long enough to get soggy, but long enough to just have that nice taste. It's terrific. Yeah, but apparently people hate IHOP. Okay, I'm sorry for whatever IHOP is going on. Let's go to this. Kyle Clifton says, let Quincy play out his last year's deal, then let him go. Very possible. Again, the thing I like about that is Quincy plays another year with the Jets, which is awesome. I love watching Quincy play. The only bad part is the comp pick formula is not this very simple machine. For instance, we lost DJ Reed on a 3-year deal for $48 million, biggest deal any former Jet signed anywhere, and we don't get anything. We get bupkis for him. If you trade Quincy, you get something. Obviously, if you trade Quincy, you get worse at linebacker, and then you have another hole to fill. So it goes back and forth, Kyle. But I hear you about just simply doing that. Play it all out. So you could do the same thing with Breece, I guess. So there's something to said about, hitting eject, getting a new pick, and then doing different stuff now. Jimmy Jets, does Miami now draft a tackle on the first? To me, this Teron Armstead thing was the Dolphins operated as if he was always going to retire because he was thinking about it. And they say, once you're thinking about it, it's happening. So that makes the most sense. Calvin Banks would make a lot of sense. The left tackle to Texas, plug and play there. I'm trying to think if Will Campbell's not going to be there. Armand Membu plays right tackle, unless you believe he could play left tackle, I guess. I'm trying to think of who else could potentially be there. Unless you're super high on Ursary or Josh Connerly and they're going higher than we think. Yeah, I guess Banks could be the guy. So that makes a lot of sense. It could certainly happen, Jimmy. It could certainly happen. I could see that. Alan said, yeah, Calais Campbell went back to Arizona. I saw that last week. Cool for him. That's where he's drafted 17 years ago, which is crazy to say out loud. But good for him. All right, good for him, though. Salute to Calais. Alan said, the second we gave Sherwood $15 million per year, the clock was ticking on Quincy's Jets career. No question. No question about it. That's 100% true. Quincy Williams is making $6 million per year. Jamian's making 15. He's making more than double in the same room and with less accolades. Again, you don't always get just paid off accolades. It's the right time, age, all these factors. But yeah, Alan, you are right. And we will see what that means. Is his last snap, has that already been played? I guess we'll see. My pop here real quick. Jets are making great moves on the offensive line, making moves like Super Bowl champs, scooping up former starters on cheap. See Mekhi Becton. Yeah, the Eagles did a wonderful job. They have Stoutland, who's one of the best offensive line coaches on planet Earth, and they maximize the most out of him. And then 1-year deal, let him rip, and then maybe a comp pick. I don't have the Eagles comp pick formula in front of me, but he goes over to the Chargers, signs a nice deal. It's like 2 years for $20 million or something, and then move along. So yeah, not bad at all. All right, let's go back to the phone lines here. We've got none other than Ricky New York program. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, Paul?
Not too shabby.
I would venture to say that won't be looking at quarterback at all in this draft. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that with as many different needs as we have and what we have on the roster, I just don't see it. Some of the guys you mentioned, like you said, somebody's going to reach on Dart. He'll probably go much higher than he should.
Yeah.
Milroe is a project, and I don't think we necessarily have as much time to wait as we might need. And as far as the other guy, I know there's people that just say, "Oh, that kid from Louisville, he's a big kid with a big arm. He's got a big arm that he's had multiple surgeries on already. For goodness sakes, get the shuck out of here." No. But I'll tell you what. As fans, we all want the team to do what we want. In the past, I've done everything that I can to influence those decisions. When JD was here, I used to send him the Ricky New York big ass postcards, which basically, imagine a postcard on a piece of poster board size postcard. I would take it to the post office, slap some stamps on it, and mail it. And I think the first one, I was like, that ought to get his attention. 2 foot by 3 foot postcard shows.
I think so.
And the first one that I sent him, it said these exact words. It said, "You have to take Garrett Wilson at 4 because he won't be there at 10, and take Jermaine Johnson at 10."
Wow.
Putting in my word for those 2 guys. We ended up with both of them and Sauce and Breece. So
go figure. Right.
Much better than I expected. However, I've come up with a bunch of different, creative ways to try to get people's attention. And Mr. Moogie, let me see, what is today? Today's Sunday,
the 6th. Yep.
He should probably be receiving his Tuesday or Wednesday of this week. Let's just say that. The good old U.S. Postal Service is delivering a new type of bombshell this week. And needless to say, I just kind of congratulated him on his job. Told him that, I'm not gonna try to persuade you on prospects or draft picks or anything else like that. I'm just writing you for one reason. If he's healthy, that being the caveat, please give Jordan every opportunity. And you know what? And I honestly think they will. The fact that, Glenn, likes the mobile quarterbacks. Well, when he was healthy, that's exactly what he was. And, when Glenn was asked about him, he didn't say, And that player is left over from the old regime. We're not going to tell you. He said he's a damn good football player. He was a damn good football player in college. And if he's healthy, he's going to compete. Like, to me, those words don't sound like, they got no plans for this guy, or, this guy's got one foot out the door. So, and you know what? Honestly, Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, and a healthy Jordan Travis, I kind of like the sounds of that quarterback room myself.
You could do a lot worse than that, I think, Ricky.
Hell yeah, a lot. we have done a lot worse than that. What are you talking about? My
true.
goodness. At any rate, life will never cease to, amaze me. Like Tim Boyle's still getting jobs in the NFL somehow. Unbelievable. But you know what? Tim Boyle's not with us. Zach Wilson, not with us.
Thank God.
The only thing that the only move that I'm kind of like, was the Josh Myers signing. Because I'm thinking, damn, we were just getting rid of all this Green Bay riffraff, and then they go signing this guy. Thanks a lot, Moody. We're gonna have BMAC calling in again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, I'm just messing around.
I know.
Well, about Muji, not about BMAC. I meant that. But at any rate, dude, I like the moves we made. I've been saying Cisco is a ball hawk. Derek Notty's a lot better than people are giving him credit for, and really listening to Aaron Glenn talk about Brandon Stevens, like, I think they've got a very definite plan, and I think they're executing that plan. And, if people are mad, I've said this before, if people are mad because we haven't made that splash, that big signing, what did Tyron Smith and Hassan Reddick get us when we made those splashes? Nothing. So, you know what? I say, let's just keep flying under the radar, and our opponents are going to be that much more shocked when they get punched in the mouth. Miami's offensive line having problems. Great. Because you know what? We're going to be blitzing the hell out of people with Wilkes and Glenn, and I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Looking forward to this season. Draft, hurry up and get here so I can finish putting this roster together in my head. But you can't wait, man. Can't wait. Anyways, all for it, and I'm sure I'll have some more advice for management later on down the road.
Okay, I can't wait. Thank you, Ricky, for the call. Yeah, tomorrow on the show, I have it here in my notes. So we're going to continue to have Drew Beatty, who hopefully you guys enjoyed. He made his debut last week with the 7th-round Jets mock draft. He'll be with us every Monday for the next month and change, something like that, talking draft. Let me see. I have it in my notes here. 1 second. Yeah, prospects to avoid. So he's going to talk about players that he's lower on than consensus and players that are commonly mocked to the Jets that we're all like, ooh, and he's like, you probably shouldn't want that guy. So I'm looking forward. That show will be tomorrow morning at 7:30. So Drew Beatty, our draft analyst, joining us. That should be a good one. Let's go back to the phone lines here. We got Hep here on the show. What's up, Hep?
Hey, Paul. Hey, fellas. Hey, Ricky's still in the tournament with Jake's thing.
Oh, is he? Where are they at? Where are they? How deep are they? Elite Eight, Final Four? Where are we?
Like 8, I think. It's really coming down to it now.
Wow. Who do we have left of the Boy Green Coffee Club members?
Well, I can't. I know Ricky. Dave got knocked out by King Lowski. And
wow.
King Lowski, come on.
Yeah, of course.
That's a hard one.
Of course. Yeah.
And Charles got knocked out that day.
Oh, okay.
By the big fella, which was a big upset. But that was the day that was the day Charles got catfished.
Oh yeah, right. Oh wow, so he had a really bad day that day. Oof.
Yeah, but they made him whole, so actually it was a good day.
So I guess it went back. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And Mikey got knocked out pretty early, which was a shocker, I thought. And,
for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm not too sure exactly about who's left in there. I know
That's all right.
Loki's left. I know Ricky's left. I
Mhm.
know Gorman is left. I'm not Gorman. Lane Train. Lane
Okay,
Train.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
and who's the guy that doesn't like chicken with pasta? Oh,
Oh yeah,
Gary.
Gary.
Yeah,
Gary.
yeah. Yeah, what a crazy group of fellas those guys are.
Yeah, one of a kind group. One of a kind
Definitely.
group.
So I'm a little nervous about what the Patriots are going to do.
Mm.
And if they take Membu, then then I guess what are we going to do? Are we going to go for Warren, or are we going to go for the other tackle? What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the other, so that's my fear is that what's going to happen at the top? So Cam Ward's going 1, mystery over there. Number 2, I think the Browns are going with either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Then it's the Giants at 3. If the Giants take the other non-quarterback, that's sort of great because I don't want the Patriots getting Hunter or Carter, but also that gets risky because what if they just go, our offensive line sucks, we're taking Membu. And I'd be like, man, that sucks. The greatest thing in the world would be them taking Will Campbell because, again, people are split on him. I don't think he's going to survive at left tackle in the NFL. And if he doesn't, they took a guard with the top 4 pick, and that's hilarious. So that would be great. But I think there is a chance they take Membu. That's the one I'm sort of fearing ahead of us where, like, I just don't know what they're going to do. Or what I do know is I'm afraid of for the Jets at 7. So I don't think Will Campbell can play right tackle based on having all the conversations with Trevor Schickham and these other guys. And he hasn't played it. So then it's a projection. And then we all know what happens when you try to project players to do things they haven't done. Maybe it's a trade back scenario, Hep. Again, it takes 2 to tango. But, maybe that's the most ideal outcome there.
Yeah, what you thinking about that trade? That rumor about Atlanta coming up and trading Pitts for us.
Yeah, that'd be intriguing. That's dropping a little far because then I think you miss out on the Warrens of the world, right? Because I think Warren's floor is 14 with the Colts because they are desperate for tight end. So if you drop back that far, maybe you're missing out on some of those kind of key players. Maybe there's a way to drop back shorter, like Chicago at 10 or Cowboys at 12. Maybe that's the furthest I'd go. But again, it always depends on the package. So it's not like, I refuse to go any lower than 13. Someone at 20 calls says, hey, we'll give you 12 first-round picks. Okay, never mind. 20, it sounds great. So, like, it just depends what the deals are. But, yeah, maybe it's a trade-back scenario. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking if we got back that far, we picked up Pitts, and then if Golden was still available, then we get a wide receiver and our tight end, and we get that out of the way right from the first round.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be nice. And then pick up a tackle in the second round or something like that. But anyway, peace out, guys.
I love the call, Hep. You're the best. I love it. A lot of good thoughts there. Golden is a receiver we haven't talked enough about here on the show, and I know, Hep, you've reached out about Golden. I think, let me see my schedule here. 1 second. All right. So on Boy Green Meets Woody this week, I believe is the week. Let me double check my online schedule here. Boy Green Meets Woody. I've got an Excel sheet with all our dates. So Tuesday, April 8th, so that's only a couple days away. Ryan Roberts, he's a NFL draft analyst. He's one of the best in the business. I love Ryan. He's joining us for Tuesday and Thursday of Boy Green Meets Woody this week. He'll be on both shows. Tuesday is all offensive prospect. Thursday is all defensive prospect. So if you guys have any questions on literally any offensive draft prospect, have that question for Tuesday, live at 3 o'clock. And if you have any questions, Thursday for defense. And we'll be talking about everything. I plan on asking the Matthew Golden question that Heps asked me. Again, there's just going to be a million question possibilities. So, again, Ryan Roberts, double dip. He'll be on for both episodes, Tuesday and Thursday. Offensive and defensive prospects, they'll be coming up. I see we have a lot of questions here, so let me throw a couple of things in here. My pop asked, is Zach slated to make more than Tyrod Taylor this year? Zach Wilson. No, actually, they're making the same amount, which is sort of crazy. Zach Wilson's making $6 million this year, guaranteed. Tyrod Taylor making $6 million guaranteed this year. Unbleeping believable, Pop, but it's true. Tyrod Taylor and Zach Wilson are making the same salary. I like our end of it. Thank you very much. A couple other questions coming in here. Alan says the Jets are not paying 2 off-ball linebackers $15+ million per year. Because if I'm Quincy, I'm probably wanting more than Jamian, to be honest. And are the Jets willing to do that? No team in the NFL is paying multiple linebackers $15+ million per year. I'll take that a step further. No team is paying 2 off-ball linebackers more than $10 million per year. I will take that one step further. The highest amount of money that one team is investing at the off-ball linebacker position is the New Orleans Saints. We're paying Demario Davis $7.25 million per year, and then Pete Werner is making like $6 million and change. So two off-ball linebackers are combined making like in that 12 to 15 million per year range. So like that's combined. So there has not been a team willing to do it. Maybe the Jets will be making their own outlier history, but boy, you better be right when you're investing that much into a position that no other team in the NFL is doing. Something to think about, obviously. And then one more here. This is from Gregory Harrison on our Facebook page. Shout out to Gregory. Good morning, Jet Nation. The Jets need much. The Jets need to trade back. This is the Jets' year to fix this team and become a playoff team in 2026. The Jets need major work on defense. Let's go, Jets. Good thoughts here, Gregory. First off, that the Jets can trade back. Takes two to tango, but if the right deal's there, I'm for it. Hopefully it's a team that's lower being aggressive to move up so you get more for your bacon. I think NY Jets FL said that a couple days ago about not just getting fair value. Oh, what a fair trade. Of like you betting another team over the barrel and maximizing the fact that they're desperate to trade up for whoever they want. That would be ideal. Playoff team in 2026. I'd love a playoff team in 2025 if we could make it happen, but TBD, I suppose. Major work on defense needed. Major work all over the place. Like I said, right tackle, wide receiver, tight end, defensive tackle, safety. If you do anything with Quincy Williams, you need an off-ball linebacker. If you do anything with Breece, you need a running back. So yeah, there's a lot of bleep to get to. Long story short. But good comments. Good comments. Keep those super chats coming and also the memberships, baby. Again, the draft giveaway keeps going through. We'll also have a live giveaway exclusively on April 24th, that Thursday night, from Homage. Shout out to our folks over at Homage. Their direct link is in my YouTube description down below where you guys can get the latest Homage gear. I'm wearing it every day, baby. Look at this. Boom. There you go. Enjoy it. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Indy Jets here on the program. What's up, Indy?
Hey, good morning, BG.
Good to see you, pal.
Hey, quick question. I'm not real familiar with how comp picks work.
Yes.
But let's say you don't trade somebody like Quincy, you don't trade somebody like Breece, and you wait till next year. The new coaching staff wants to see what we have, and you let somebody like Quincy walk, and he signs for 12, 15 million elsewhere. Isn't that like a third round comp pick?
It sort of depends. I mean, there's a chance that it could get that high. Like, for instance, DJ Reed, I think, would have been a fourth, and he signed for $16 million per year. So there's a lot of crazy, to your point. I don't think a lot of us truly understand the full comp pick formula, but it would be. But the other thing is it's not a guarantee, right? So DJ Reed, we talked about it earlier, he averaged $16 million per year on his new deal. But it was canceled out because the Jets signed Justin Fields for technically $20 million per year. So that neutralized. So the Jets got nothing for DJ Reed. So that's the only risk is if you say, hey, F it. Quincy, Breece, you're probably not going to be here long term, but F it. For this year, come on back. Let's have this awesome year. You guys go get paid. Breece gets $10 million per year or something. Quincy gets whatever, 14 million, 15 million, whatever he gets per year somewhere else.
Right.
If the Jets don't sign equivalent players at their same price tags, yes, in the following year, so it wouldn't be 2026, it'd be 2027, they could get comp picks for them. But like I said, it's sort of a complicated process. No guarantees.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I understand that, the balance, we signed one, we let one go, we signed one, so they balanced out,
Yeah.
So if you let Breece, you let Breece go, or you let Quincy go, and they both signed some big contracts. If we don't sign them,
correct,
somebody else.
Possible. Sure.
We just built through the draft. You're going to get it. You could get a fourth or fifth or third or fourth, depending on their contract, or even a fifth, I guess. I don't know what they're.
Yeah, third is the highest. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Breece could sign. You're going to get a third round pick, possibly, or you keep him this year. You let the new coaching staff, figure out, hey, what can we do with this guy? Because obviously we had a coaching staff that just was so incompetent that we didn't know what to do. We didn't know that Breece Hall could catch out of the backfield. Who knew?
I still can't believe that actually happened.
I would have thought playing, they could have, played Madden and oh wait, we did do that,
yeah.
But no, I think with this coaching staff, we need to focus on offense. Obviously, AG, look what he did with all the injuries in Detroit. He still made that. He still made that defense very, very good. They weren't great.
Yeah, they were competent for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they had what I don't remember what it was at one time. I think it was like 16 defensive players on. I mean, some outrageous number.
Yeah, it was an outrageous number. Yeah, 100%.
No,
it was in that
no,
14, 16 range. Yeah.
Yeah, no team should survive that. They should have been walked on every game. So when people say, "Oh, well, our defense has not gotten better," through free agency. No, we got better just by bringing AG on here to say, take the exact same players that we had last year and let AG do it. I don't remember those defensive lines those guys that we were rotating in and out. I don't even remember their names.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Well, no, but you've got to with AG, we have a far better chance of those guys being something compared to, because he's done it.
Right.
And so our defense just really automatically got a little better just by getting rid of, it was an addition by subtraction, and so I think we got to focus on we need to focus strictly on offense and get those the top players in the draft on the offensive side of the ball. If you want to go tight end, we're all in the debate of Tyler Warren or Membu or, whatever. At this point, I don't even care. It just needs to be, it just needs to be in that realm of those type of players. And we don't need that top defensive guy because AG already proved he can do a lot with a whole lot less on the defensive side of the ball. So bring those top players, the top tier players on offense, and then he can kind of step away and let the offensive coordinator take care of that, and let AG and his defensive mind work with these younger players on defense and get the most out of them. That's what I think. But I didn't know if you knew how the comp picks worked in detail or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know enough about how, it's sort of just a risk about them not being guaranteed and coming through. And unfortunately, the Jets have been one of the worst teams at it. The one thing we do know is now that free agency is quite settled, the Jets are projected to get a 4th round pick in 2026 for Hassan Reddick, of all people. Who would have thought that would be the one? And interestingly enough, right, we're supposed to lose the 3rd in 2026 for Hassan. All of a sudden, the trade looks a lot less shittier now that you dropped around. Okay,
right.
Again, it still sucked, and everything that we went through sucked. But now you just bumped from a 3rd to a 4th. Okay, that could have been worse. Not bad.
Yeah. And so, who knows what, if Quincy's gonna sign somewhere else, if he signs for that 12, I don't know, 12, $15 million, maybe that's a good 4th round pick for us. I'm just saying if we don't pick anybody up. And so are you going to if you traded for him now, would you get a 4th round pick for him?
That's the question.
Yeah. Or could you, does this coaching staff get production out of him that we need this year? I think it's best to keep him and let the year play out, let the coaching staff play out, and let's fill in some holes, and then let's see what we have going into next year's draft.
Fair enough. I love it. Indy, thanks for the call, man. Now, I will say this, and explaining it. You have 2 paths if you're the New York Jets. Let's put Quincy and Breece in the same box. You have 2 paths. You say, screw it, we're going to play with them. We're going to know we're going to have them for 2025, and then we'll let them go, and let's hope the comp pick hits us. Or the guarantee. The guarantee is you trade those 2 right now for something is tangible. It's right there. Which brings me to my favorite movie of all time, Tommy Boy. If it's a non-sports movie because I love Draft Day, of course, but Tommy Boy. Let me bring you the scene. This is Tommy Callahan. He says, let's think about this for a second, Ted. Why would somebody put a guarantee on a box? Very interesting. Ted Nelson, the customer, goes, go on, I'm listening. Tommy goes, here's the way I see it, Ted. Guy puts a fancy guarantee on a box because he wants you to feel all warm and toasty inside. Ted Nelson goes, yeah, makes a man feel good. Of course it does. Why shouldn't it? You figure you put that little box under your pillow at night, the guaranteed fairy might come by and leave a quarter. Am I right, Ted? And then Ted Nelson's like, so what's your point? The point is, how do you know the fairy isn't a crazy glue sniffer building model airplanes, says the little fairy. Well, we're not buying it. He sneaks into your house once, and all it takes, the next time you know, there's money missing off the dresser and your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it 100 times. But why do they put a guarantee on the box, Ted Nelson says. And Tommy replies, because they all know they sold you was a guaranteed piece of shit. That's all it is, isn't it? Hey, if you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will. I got spare time. But for now, for your customer's sake, for your daughter's sake, you might want to think about buying a quality product from me. And there you go on the guarantee. And the guarantee is ultimately this on this formula and this situation. The guarantee is, do the Jets want a guaranteed pick for potentially losing Quincy and Breece? And really where it truly goes is and we don't know the answer to this question, how do the Jets feel? How do the Jets feel back there? Are they saying in the building, yeah, we want Quincy back for sure. Oh, we want Breece back for sure. If they are, then all this trade pick nonsense is nonsense. If they in the building are saying, hey, we want those guys back, that's what they're saying. But if they're saying, oh boy, I don't think we're going to have these guys back, that's when you have to have the conversation now. The now conversation. Can we trade Breece Hall right now for a 5th, 4th, 3rd? I have no idea what it is. Quincy, could we trade him right now for a 5th, 4th, 3rd, whatever it is? And they say, you know what? We could get that right now. Right now. And ultimately, like I said, that's where we finally get to the possibility of going over there. And the quote you guys are all talking about from Tommy Boy is none other than, I could get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a bull's ass, but I'd rather take a butcher's word for it. One of the best. Tommy Boy, baby. Speaking of, let's go. Hop on Pop joins us here on the program. What's up, Pop?
Hey now. Hey now. I will not reenact the scene from Tommy's father's wedding at the stage here. So
yeah, that's please don't. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I'm going to say a lot of unpopular things in a short amount of time. So
oh boy. Okay, and people in the back, time them. Go.
All right. It is the time to do one of two things with Breece Hall.
Okay.
Right. My opinion. Offer him a new contract. We'll get
right
back
now?
to that. Put a pin in it. Put a pin in that.
Yep.
Or trade him. Do not pull what I like to call as a DJ Reed, and get nothing for nothing for nothing. And the problem with the new contract is when it's time to give him, when we can have that, the whatever that fancy term is he's not going to get what he thought he was going to get 18 months ago. Right. 18 months ago, I was on this show saying, speaking the gospel truth about Breece Hall. He's a top 2 back. They're all in here. All the people. I've got the receipts. You're all in here. God, Breece Hall's the best running back in the NFL. There's no way he's going to take $8 to $10 million a year. He'd be lucky to get to $8 to $10 million a year. We can offer him a contract extension at the discount double check, or trade him for whatever you can get and do it now.
Okay.
That's it. Quick hitting. Let the hate flow through all of you. But it's the truth. When I said 18 months ago that he wasn't a top 5 back and people drafted him number 1 in fantasy, I got to get me some of that. That Saquon Barkley is washed. Worst. He's worst up. We're not going to draft him. We're going to get Breece Hall with our number 1 pick.
So if Breece Hall was traded today, what do you think the Jets could get for him?
3rd.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, get something before you get nothing. And I'm comfortable, confident that the running back room with maybe augmentation late in the draft is solid, right? And if that 3rd round pick yielded you another day-to-day average starting player on your team for the next 5 years, praise be he, right? That's where I'm at. Or, Breece, you're willing to take a reasonable amount for a contract? Let's talk about it. But it's got to be reasonable. And it's not the price that I mentioned 18 months ago. It's less.
It could very well be. How I look at the draft, in today's day and age, there's only 7 rounds. To me, the first 3 rounds are premium picks. You should expect starters in those 3 rounds if you're doing your job right. The others,
Absolutely.
okay, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Hey, those
Best
have
guess.
yielded returns. Dak Prescott in the 4th round.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady in the 6th. Right. You go through the rigmarole, undrafted free agents, Tony Romo, since we're just doing Dallas Cowboys here, and yes, Indy, I did hear that too. 3rd round prick by my dad. I don't know if that one was on purpose with a wink, but I did hear that. But no, that's how I view it. The first 3 rounds are premium. They should be starters. 4th through 7th, you're getting a little bit more upside. I know I'm taking a swing on a guy that's got clear red flags or what have you, and it's more risky in nature and less guaranteed, as we were
to
talking
me,
about.
the 4th through 7th is where you go with the mantra best player available, because you don't know. 1, 2, and 3, my opinion, right? Depending on where you're at with your team and each positional breakdown, blah, 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 blah. You don't necessarily go with the best player available. You go the best player available at your need, or you make other options. 4 through 7, best player available. Let's see what's cooking. And again, based on all your homework, all your breakdowns, all your analysts, all your scouts, what they tell you. And there's some cases that I'm telling a general rule, not a commandment chiseled. Here's my 15, 10 commandments.
Yeah.
By the way, anytime you can quote History of the World Part 1,
sure,
is good day.
You know,
And it sounds like you haven't watched the movie, so you're
no. I prefer the quoting of Tommy Boy. That's sort of more my lane.
Wait for the shake
your lane.
is another quote from the History of the World Part 1. Wait for the shake.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Pop, appreciate it. Thanks for the chiming in. And again, you will be on that live draft show coming up in 18 days. So it should be a hoot.
All right.
Thanks,
Have
Pop.
a great one, Boy Green Coffee Club.
All right, there you go. Appreciate it. Thanks for the insights. There's Pop joining us here on the program. Nice. And again, anytime we could quote Tommy Boy, it's a great day. It's the greatest movie of all time. Chris Farley, David Spade. Come on now. Not here, right here. I use that all the time with my fiance, because like if anytime she like trips and like she gets hurt or something, and she's like, "Did it leave a mark?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me see." Not it's not here. It's not here. It's right here. Yeah, we that's one that we use quite often. But great flick, baby. Anywho, I'll tell you this. I sort of disagree with my pop on the 4th through 7th thing. I'm not a BPA guy for like, hey, who's the best overall player available? Obviously, you could think about that, right? Like best remaining available. Oh my God, how is this guy here in the 4th? Sure. To me, I'm really chasing traits. Like if I'm like, man, this quarter, Jalen Milroe, what an elite runner. The other stuff all needs work, but boy, I know he's an elite at that one thing. When I'm playing Madden, and in the Madden drafts, you could see what people are elite at, if they're elite at anything that late in the draft. I'm like, you know what? I think I can develop the elite thing, and let's see what else is happening with the rest of the game. So I'm normally chasing traits. I'm normally chasing traits later in the draft. But, hey, different strokes, different folks. Let's get a super chat in here. Truman Do Mel, baby. Every time we get a YouTube super chat, we hear from my beautiful daughter, Zariah Luna.
Wow.
Truman, let me add this to your total here, baby. Appreciate you. Let me put this in. All right, beautiful. You just got yourself 2 more raffle tickets. You're up to 5 raffle tickets, my man. Tying yourself with Ed Vargas on our leaderboard, Truman, for our contest. So let's put you up there. You're now tied with Ed Vargas for 5th. So I will put you here on the leaderboard, baby. Nice. You're now here on the banner. I know Pop is gone, but I can still answer your question as a Notre Damer. Hey, Pop, how do you feel about Audric Esteem joining Gang Green? Go Jets and go Irish, baby. I will tell you this, that Audric I loved a lot. Obviously, he's on the Denver Broncos right now. I'm curious how they feel about him. They haven't made a lot of moves, but in the backfield, let me look at the roster real quick and see who is the Denver Broncos roster. Because I know Javonte Williams left. He joined the Cowboys. Let me see what other running backs they have on the roster besides Audric. Let me see. Okay, so they got Tyler Beatty, who got seriously hurt last year. That was very scary. They got Jaleel McLaughlin. He was fine. Blake Watson. He's the Memphis youngster from last year. And then they've got Audric Esteem. So I don't know how they feel about Audric, but that'd be one I'd kick the tires on, especially since a popular first-round pick for the Denver Broncos has been a running back like Omari and Hampton. Who knows if he'll be on the board for them in the 20s, wherever they pick. And so that could be possible. Genty certainly won't be there. Omarion might be gone at 12 to Dallas. That might be a sneaky pick. But if they invest big at running back with a big name, maybe that shakes a guy like Audric free, Truman. So I wouldn't hate that at all. Again, we've mentioned trades where you could take a shot on a guy. Like, for instance, Michael Mayer in Las Vegas. You send a 6th or 7th for him from, speaking of Notre Dame Golden Domers, baby. Go get a Michael Mayer for dirt cheap and throw him on the team. Audric Esteem, throw a pick, dirt cheap, try to add him to the squad. That'd be fun. So I would love it. Sure, let's get another guy. Let's get another guy in here. I would not be surprised if the Jets add another back to this room, especially because, again, it's not just about the now. That's, I think, the biggest misconception in the draft, excuse me, is people say, Jets need a right tackle, draft the right tackle. I think that's the biggest misconception in the draft. What the draft is you're thinking multiple steps ahead. For instance, the Jets could do this. They draft an off-ball linebacker. They're like, yeah, we don't need it immediately, but Quincy, what if he's gone? We need Quincy's hole filled. Quarterback, geez, we have Matthew Stafford right now, but boy, we need a quarterback for after that. So it's always just forward thinking. So I think sometimes we forget that when we're talking about the draft process, which is why, again, full circle back to running back, right? Breece Hall last year, his deal, depending on what your plan is with Breece, you're going to need a new guy to replace Breece. And you do that a year early, bing, boom, bam. And then in theory, when Breece is ready to go, if you trade him at the deadline or he stays on the team or walks as a free agent, then you have the next guy in line to go. But Truman, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Yeah. Oh, yeah, my pop's right here answering it. He says, I would love it. Audric is a beast. There you go, Truman. You get his thoughts on it, too, as I said. Yeah. Alan says, BG, you think Aaron Glenn is going to want to deal with Mayer? He has issues beyond football. Glenn's all about football. I will say this. I've got zero idea. For those who don't know, Michael Mayer missed several games last season due to quote-unquote personal reasons. I've not heard what that actually is, so I have no idea. So I can't really comment on those. But in terms of, like, Glenn's all about football, I agree. But me not knowing what that situation is, he could have been taking care of his sick mother for all I know. I don't know. So, no, I think Glenn is more understand. Well, how about this? What about Chukwuma Okorafor? This guy played 12 snaps. We talked about him on the show yesterday. He played 12 snaps last year, and then a lot of people accused him of quitting, and now he's on the Jets. He's all football. A guy who loves football. Why would he bring in Chukwuma? So I don't think everything is black and white. It's either this or that. I think there's gray. Chukwuma was in the gray. Jets brought him in. I'll be kind of curious. Like Mayer, I have no idea what that situation is. But that to me would be interesting. Because, again, I think you're getting Mayer for a 6th or 7th round pick. And I remember him coming out of the draft said, oh, what a complete tight end. Awesome. So to get him for 2 years of cheap rookie control on a late round dart throw, we don't have a 7th, obviously, so it'd be a 6th or a 7th next year. Like, okay, let's go. So I'd love to kick the tires on that. Take a chance on a young player with upside. He's someone I would. Well, thank you to the 500 people in the room. Like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way to contribute. I can't advocate for that enough strongly. We're trying to make a chase to 10,000 subscribers. The sneaky way to do it is not just you guys subscribing, which obviously helps, but it's you liking the video, and then it puts it in front of other Jet fans in the YouTube universe going, oh, Boy Green Daily, what the hell is that? The more you guys like the video, the more it gets pumped out by YouTube to all of those overlords. So that would be wonderful. That'd be wonderful if you guys can do that. And if you guys do have the financial means to support the show, it's only $2.99 a month, which is chump change. It's less than a cup of coffee. and that's $2.99 per month. And you can help support the show. You can help us do other things. I hope eventually that we can, we're in a position to go to some of these events. I'd love to go to the Combine. I'd love to go to like the Senior Bowl. And the more you guys support allows the opportunity for us to go to events and then do live show opportunities and things of that nature. So that'd be a cool future step thing to do once we get there. But thanks everybody for supporting. Thanks for tuning in. Again, we'll be back on tomorrow morning with our NFL draft analyst, Drew Beatty. He'll be joining us on the program. And we'll be talking about the top prospects the New York Jets should avoid in the 2025 NFL Draft. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take care. Let's